So this Nelson Mandela himself, who is who became the first black president. And this chapter is an autobiography of Nelson Mandela, and his full name is Nelson Rohil Hala Mandela. Okay, so this chapter is taken from his autobiography, and he was the first black president of South Africa. So this chapter includes descriptions of his inauguration ceremony, citations from his speech, and his journey to being a freedom fighter, and also his struggle, along with a tribute to other freedom fighters and their countless efforts in getting freedom. Freedom in terms of caste, color, race, age, gender. Okay. So in South Africa, a brutal practice was followed, that is apartheid. What is apartheid? Apartheid refers to the discrimination between people. It separates people from each other on the basis of their race. Okay, so this was followed there, and it was one of the most brutal societies where dark-skinned people were deprived of their basic rights. They were not given the basic rights also because they were dark-skinned. And this lesson gives us an overview as to how Nelson Mandela, along with others, carved their way to the society where there will be no discrimination on the basis of their color, caste, race, age, or gender. Okay, so this chapter shows the struggle of Nelson Mandela and many others. So, what was his autobiography's name? His autobiography's name is Long Walk to Freedom. In this extract, Mandela speaks about a historic occasion, the inauguration. Can you guess what occasion it might be? Can you guess with this news item from the BBC of 10th May 1994? So this is a news item where he was soaring as the first black president of South Africa. Okay, so that was the inauguration ceremony that took place in the Union buildings, attended by politicians and dignitaries from more than 140 countries around the world. This chapter starts like this: 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union Building. Okay, so it was 10th May when Nelson Mandela was soaring as the first black head of state of South Africa. And it was after years of struggle that his anti-racist party came into power. Until then, the seat had always been occupied by the white president. That is why the author referred to the day as bright and clear. Okay. And it was a morning full of hope. Days before this date, many notable personalities started congratulating him for his victory and for his struggle. For the first time in the country's history, many international leaders came together for their inauguration ceremony. The ceremony took place in an open circular building made of sandstone consisting of union buildings in the Pretoria city. So what was the city's name? Pretoria. And it took place in the amphitheater. What is the amphitheater? It is an open circular building made of sandstone. Okay, now let's see the third paragraph, third and fourth paragraph. On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zinani. On the podium, Mr. de Klerk was first shown as the second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as first deputy president. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the constitution and to devote myself to the well-being of the republic and its people. So the author was accompanied by his daughter Zinani on his big day. First, the two vice presidents took the oath, and then his turn came. He committed to respect, protect, and abide by the Constitution and to devote his entire self into the welfare of the country. Under oath, determined to stay in the role specified. Now, this is his speech to all the assembled guests and the watching world. I said, this was his speech. Okay. So what was his speech? The author, the author Nelson Mandela also mentions some parts of his speech where he said that everyone by his presence was giving rise to hope for a new beginning. Previous rulers were discriminatory and lasted for long, but the ones who are given the opportunity to rule now would stand up against discrimination. So, who are given the opportunity now? He himself and many others are given the opportunity who are black, and they will remove all sorts of discrimination in the in that country. He is glad to host a ceremony with the presence of global leaders, and it was an achievement in itself for him. There was a time when South Africa, for practicing apartheid, lost all its international political relationship, and now when there is no segregation on the basis of race and gender, other nations are happy to have healthy democratic relationships. Finally, in celebrating their achievement, which is a step towards an equal society where every human will be treated fairly. So, this was written in his speech. You all can just read the speech. Let freedom shall it be that this beautiful land will experience the oppression of one by another. On so glorious a human achievement, let freedom reign, and God bless Africa. So, free from legal, social, or political restriction. Okay. So freedom from any restriction is emancipation. Liberate means freedom or to get release. Bondage means the state of being a slave. Discrimination means being treated differently from each other. Deprivation means the damaging lack of material benefit considered to be basic necessities in a society. So, so in these lines, he mentions that after great struggle, they have finally achieved political freedom. His government promised to free everyone of the still existing poverty, hardship, and inequalities of all kind, along with assuring everyone of a country where no community will be considered inferior or down. He then exclaims that freedom should rule and may God shower his blessings on their land. On their land means on Africa, on South Africa. See the another paragraph. A few moments later, we all lifted our eyes in awe as a spectacular array of South African jets, helicopters, and troop carriers rode in perfect formation over the Union buildings. It was not only a display of pinpoint precision and the military force, but a demonstration of the military's loyalty to democracy, to a new government that had been freely and fairly elected. Only moments before, highest generals of the South African Defence Force and Police, their chests bedecked with ribbons and medals from days gone by, saluted me and pledged their loyalty. I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would have saluted but arrested me. Finally, a chevron of Impala jets left a trail of the black, red, green, blue, and gold, the new South African flag. Okay, so just after the newly elected president's address to the audience, an impressive arrangements of fighter jets, helicopter, and soldier transporters raised everyone's heads up in the sky, and it symbolized perfection as well as the military's respect and obedience towards the free country. The high commanders who have won medals for their bravery also saluted and promised their loyalty to their country and Mandela also. Mandela mentions that he was well aware that these commanders who were now saluting him would have arrested him under the previous rule, as during the oppressive white supremacy. So he is considered to be a criminal. He is the president of Africa. The air show finally ended by making the South African flag in the sky from smoke beneath the jets. And what was the colors? Red, green, blue, gold, and black. And let's see the next paragraph. The day was symbolized for me by the playing of two national anthems and the vision of whites singing the Kosi Sikelel I Africa and blacks singing Diet Stem, the old anthem of Republic. So these were the two national anthems of Africa. Whites were singing something else and blacks were singing something else. Although that day neither group knew the lyrics of the anthem they once despised, they would soon know the words by heart. So the author remembers the day as the playing of two national anthems of the country, one of the whites and the other of the blacks. On that, no knew the wordings of the anthem of blacks, but Mandela was confident that everyone would soon learn this anthem that they once hated. Chapter, that is page number 20. See, this next paragraph. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War and before my own birth, the white people of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned people of their land. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane societies the world has known. The as a man. That system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedom of all people, regardless of the color of their skin. So, overwhelmed have a strong emotional effect. Erected means build or to construct. Racial domination means where the people of one race have power over another race. Inhuman means cruel and brutal. Overturn means turn हो जाना, reverse हो जाना. So on the day of the inaugural ceremony, the author was remembering the days of the past. When this whole system of apartheid emerged. ये सारा apartheid system start हुआ था. It resulted in inequality and inferior treatment of dark-skinned people. They were deprived of their basic fundamental rights. As a result, one of the world's most brutal and inhuman society was born. This began even before he was born. So this apartheid system was going on before he was born. This system created an atmosphere of extreme cruelty and injustice for a particular part of the community. Now, when he is in the 8th decade as a man, he, along with countless others, have changed the entire system that treats humans as humans irrespective of their color, caste, gender, or age. Okay. See this paragraph. That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people. People whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. Done or achieved. So he says that Nelson Mandela says that this equal and free country was the result of sacrifices of countless other men and women who have fought all their lives for this day, for this free day. The author wishes if you could thank them all, but unfortunately, They didn't live to see the result of their courage and struggle. Nelson Mandela gathered his courage and power from all these people and thus wishes to make them proud. He wants to make all of them proud. Okay, we can see this line, last paragraph, page 20. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that profound hurt. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Tambos, the Walter Sisulu, the Chief Luthilists, the Yusuf Dadus, the Bram Fishers, the Robert Sobukwe's of our time. Okay, so he was remembering all the extraordinary people. You see the pictures. Men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom, and generosity that their like may never be known again. Perhaps it requires such depths of operation to create such heights of character. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. Okay, so he says that the policy scarred many people and it has hurt many people and it will take a long time for all of them to move on, to forget all those things. The author mentions that this hard time had its negative impacts, but it also exposed a lot of strong and courageous men who stood and raised their voice. Thus, it required that level of unjust treatment to produce such great heroes. South Africa, he says, is rich in minerals and gems, but its greatest strength lies in its people. I have to read this chapter at home. Now is it clear?